And ladies and gentlemen, we started off the week with the field of 8 of the top men's teams here in Nova Scotia. And now we are at least 10 ends away from crowning our champion, who will be headed off to the 2019 Tim Hortons Brier, representing Nova Scotia. As this will be the Deloitte Tankard final here on Sheet D from the Dartmouth Curling Club. It will be Team Jamie Murphy, the defending champions out of the Halifax Curling Club, facing off against the Young Guns from Dartmouth, the last year's finalists, looking to avenge that loss to Murphy, as it will be Stuart Thompson. So as we get started, we will give you a rundown of the teams competing here during this afternoon's game. Team Murphy curling out of the Halifax Curling Club. Their lead is Phil Kroll. Their second is Scott Zachary. Their third is Paul Fleming, and their skip is Jamie Murphy. And Team Stuart Thompson is curling out of the Dartmouth Curling Club. Their lead is Taylor Ardeal. Their second is Travis Coulter. Their third is Colton Steele, and their skip is Stuart Thompson. So as we get started with this first end of play, Team Jamie Murphy, by virtue of their 7-0 record in the round robin, will have the last rock playing the Yellowstones. As we get started, we see Taylor Ardeal, the lead for Team Thompson, the ice maker. Putting this rock to top 12. Top 8 now, just as it finished. So, for anyone who may be tuning in for the first time or may want to know just a little bit as we get started, we do play 10 ends of play, 38 minutes of thinking time per team. And if we are tied at the completion of that, we would head off to an extra end to decide the winner, and we do play the 5 rock rule. It says the 5 rock free guard zone rule there as we get started here. Guard put up from Kroll. So don't forget, you can get involved in the conversation by tweeting me at John Seitman is my Twitter handle. You can also find me on pretty much any other social media platform. So send me your questions, comments about the game. We'd love to hear from you wherever you're tuning in from, as we see Coulter and Steele working on this one from Ardeal. Trying to push it to center line, will do so just enough. So as we go throughout today's show, we'll also give you a little bit of insight into who will be headed off to Brandon, Manitoba to compete in this year's Tim Hortons Brier, the biggest event arguably of the year, alongside, of course, the Scotties Tournament of Hearts, taking place in Sydney, Nova Scotia this year at Center 200. For those of you who may have missed this morning's broadcast, it was a steal at 2 and 10 that brought Team Jill Brothers a 6-5 victory, stealing away the Scotties title. On the second stones here, Travis Coulter. Coulter, the former mixed doubles provincial champion, alongside his wife, Julia. Long-time representative of the Dartmouth Curling Club. As we'll see here, second stone here for Team Murphy is Scott Zachary, the business owner. Runs the New Scotland brand alongside his brother Kevin. As they get the hit out the other side, shot still remains. That team Stuart Thompson, top 8. So throughout this game, we'll do our best to bring some insights. We'll try to, if I see any around, try to get some guests with me to provide some insights. There are a few around the club here today as we're down to the final draw. It was a hard-fought week of play as we had some of the best teams in the country, arguably, but definitely the province. Six teams making their way here through qualifiers, and 2 through their performance on tour this season leading into the provincial championships. Sweepers working on this one here. Fleming and Crow. So holding 2 is Team Jamie Murphy, who have the last rock playing the Yellow Stones. You will see now on the third Stones, Colton Steele, the former under-18 Optimist International champion. Gets a hit, rolls over to the forefoot. As we'll now see Paul Fleming, the 8-time Briar representative representing Nova Scotia, a few times winner of the Ross Harstone Award for most sportsmanlike player. And of course made the final back in 2005 alongside Sean Adams. Sweepers working on this, trying to get the curl, will do so. Gets a hit, rolls to the 12. Second stone here from Colton Steele. Sweepers working on it here. Coulter and Ardeal get the hit. Roll over, where will it go? It will go toward the side of the 12-foot. And while we are getting started with this first end, we'll send a little congratulations out to Carly Burgess, the second for Team Caitlin Jones out at the New Holland Canadian Junior Championship. They just announced the All-Star teams, and she was just awarded the All-Star second on the first All-Star team. So congratulations to her. Unfortunately, falling 9-7 in that semifinal to Sarah Daniels of BC. So opportunity here now with Sean Stone belonging to Team Murphy at the side, backside of the 12. Opportunity for Murphy to get Paul Fleming to split the house. Trying to manufacture a deuce. glad to see some people already tuning in. I did see there Devin Haru of CBC Sports, one of the intrepid curling reporters, who is following, of course, all the action throughout the country. On the skip stones here, Stuart Thompson out of the Dartmouth Curling Club working on it is Coulter. Looks like it's setting up for the possibility of it being a deuce in end number 1, but still a few rocks to play as we see our first look in this match at Jamie Murphy. Zachary working on that one early. Crow joining him. Gets a hit, 6 right there. So final stone here without the last rock for Stuart Thompson. In last year's final, it was an unfortunate pick in the final end that was the difference, but Thompson looking to avenge that this afternoon. Sweepers just dusting it here, our deal. We'll get the hit. Sits right there for shot stone, so it looks like Murphy gonna hit and stick to try to score his deuce to open up this match. So opportunity to start off strong. Final stone here and number 1. Jamie Murphy facing a count of 1. Just dusting it up, brooms up from Fleming, and it will be a count of 2 to open up this match between Murphy and Thompson. Stuart Thompson will have the last rock in end number 2 playing the Blue Stones. So as we mentioned throughout the broadcast, we will talk a little bit about some of the teams that you will see competing at the upcoming Tim Hortons Brier. And what a great tournament is expected to be at Westoba Place in Brandon starting on March 2nd. One of the teams, of course, you will see as you see this stone here from Phil Crowell. You will, of course, see Brad Gushu and his team, Team Canada, curling out of the Ballyhaley in St. John's. Of course, who can forget that epic the victory in St. John's to pick up the title at home. And once he got that title, he was not letting it go as he defended it last year. So Gushu, Nichols, Gallant, and Walker with alternate Tom Sallows will be ready to go and already determined here today at Carl Moncton, the team out of the host club for that event. Terry Odishaw, Mike Kennedy, Mark Lecoe, and Grant Odishaw, the New Brunswick champions. As we see corner guard set up from our deal. as this morning it was a 7-4 victory for Odisha. Steele at 2-8 was the difference as he topped James Grattan in the final. So that is Odisha's 4th provincial title out of New Brunswick. Sweeper's not really touching this. Just dropping it down here onto the top of the 8, sitting a count of 2. So opportunity for a little bit of a tap and roll here for Taylor Ardeal. Coulter and Steele really working on this one, trying to play down to it. Gets a little bit of a bump. But opportunity here for Jamie Murphy to call on Scott Zachary to just go for the hit. Doesn't really have to even do much with his shooter. Though it would be good to definitely keep it there. Gets the hit. Rolls on out. So holding 2 there at the back of the 4-foot is Team Thompson. Sorry, my apologies, Team Murphy. Sweepers working on this one, trying to get the curl around. It's a little bit of a bump. Sits there for shot stone. Big weight here from Zachary. Looks a little bit thin to me, so where will it go? It will jam on the 2 yellow stones. Shot stone belonging now to Team Murphy at the back of the 4. So opportunity to try to play this one around the guard, put a little bit of a setup shot, and maybe try to manufacture at least a 2 here. Murphy trying to take this one back. Will go to the back of the 12. So opportunity here for Paul Fleming as he pushes out of the hack there, the 8-time competitor at the Tim Hortons Brier. On and off there from Zachary. Gets a hit. Will jam it out the side. So we'll see Colton Steele try to play that draw around. That was called on previously for Coulter. Really not getting the curl as much as we saw during the men's semifinal last night. Of course, for our viewers who may have not tuned in for it, it was a victory for Stuart Thompson over Chad Stevens. A bit of a dramatic finish, but a tight result nonetheless. As both skips, the previous finalists over the past few years, facing against Jamie Murphy. Sweeper's working on this one here. Zachary. Crow jumps in, trying to come on down to that back 12 stone. Gets the bump, stays right there. But opportunity here that looks like you're not going to see him go for the double yet. Again, I may be wrong. Originally, Stewart's inclination at the start was to go for the draw around the guard again, but it looks like he's probably decided to bail on that. So expect big weight here from Colton Steele. He can definitely throw the big weight and gets it, bumps the yellow nut out, but still leaves his shooter sitting shot stone. So, of course, as we get into skips stones here, Jamie Murphy just beside the ring, just of course outside the view of the cameras. The trophy and the all-important Briar Purple Heart to wait as we see a hit there, rolls over. So opportunity here for Stuart Thompson on the double. You probably hit this one on the nose, and both of them will go. Big weight here from Stuart Thompson. The skip that's plays with the quiet intensity, gets the double, sits right there. Final stone here from Murphy without the last rock, up by 2. Zachary and Kroll. Fleming calling him on, working on that. Gets a hit, rolls over towards center line, sits back 8. Blank attempt here for Stuart Thompson. RDO working on this one here. Gets a hit, rolls out. Blank successful, and he'll retain the last rock. Score will remain 2-0 in favor of Jamie Murphy. Skip out of Halifax, and his team defending champions in this event. This format of the event has been very kind the past few years to Jamie Murphy. They started running this event combined in 2015, if I remember correctly, and 16, 17, and 18 have been all Jamie Murphy. Whether it was that dramatic extra end victory at the Mayflower where he stole one over Chad Stevens to win, or of course last year picking up a dramatic victory over Stuart Thompson on home ice. This is a rematch of last year's final, which makes it all the more crucial. So corner guard set up there from RDO. Crow already placing his stone at the top of the 4. Sweepers not really touching this, waiting for it to go. Will get it to where it is biting the top of the 12. Sweeper's working on it here. All he's got there, Colton Steele. Rolls out, and the single stone of Team Murphy sitting at the top of the 4. Sweeper's work, just dusting this one off as it will come to rest on the eye in Deloitte. Just biting the 12. So it looks like, I'm guessing you're probably going to see some weight here from Travis Coulter. Sweeper's working on that one. Will stuff it a little bit. So shot stone remains the yellow of Team Jamie Murphy. So it looks like we have our first special guest commentator with me here for this final as we welcome Marion McCauley, I believe if I remember correctly, Director of Competitions for the NSCA, if I remember correctly.
That's correct, John.
Yeah, so...
Nice to be here with you this afternoon.
So it's definitely been a great week here in Dartmouth. What a great field of 16 teams here who have battled it out. Of course, Brothers winning the title this morning and now an excellent final here this afternoon.
Yeah, that was a great game this morning. I take you did the call this morning. I was upstairs and enjoyed. We just didn't know where that game was going right till the last rock.
Yeah, it definitely was, and you got to give. We have to give some great props out to the Dartmouth Curling Club. What a great event they put on there. Lynn Burgess and her team, and the entire club really putting their club on hold for 10 days here as the teams have been competing since Monday, and of course the prep and all that, all the hard work. It's been a great success once again.
It certainly has. Kudos to the ice crew. I think it's been fantastic shots, and it's hard to make those fantastic shots if you don't have the good ice conditions to allow for that. So I'm just catching up. I had another commitment between the two games, so I see there was a deuce for Murphy in the first and a blank in the second, and a little bit of a setup going here in 3.
Yeah, definitely a very typical approach there so far from Team Thompson. They really are strong at playing the hit style game, so they've really played well with that. Here's we'll see this zone from Steele. Schubert's working on this. Gets the hit, rolls to the edge of the 12.
Actually got a little more roll than he wanted there, but that's a great sign that the rocks and the ice are lively.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've seen a lot of with the Rocks this year compared to maybe in years past. As if I remember correctly, they refurbished the Rocks a little bit over the summer.
That's correct. The Rocks were sent away and had a full refurbishment and on a maintenance plan now. So it's great to see that they're responding after that work done.
And that definitely helps make some great shots. There is that rolls the edge of the 12. Sweepers work on this one from Fleming.
And again, he got more roll than what does it look like for speed today, John?
I think we've been pretty much. I haven't timed it on a draw during this one, but it was looking at about like 14.8-ish to 14.9 this past evening there during the semifinal.
That's beautiful speed.
Which that's pretty much arena ice type conditions, which is really great for these curlers who will be going from curling club style surface to that of the Tim Hortons Briar.
And I think that's what this has allowed, this format of having the men's and women's together in the round robin, playing together the whole week, and good ice conditions is setting our teams up for success when they go to the national.
Absolutely, and it's something that we really saw last year, especially when we had Team Arsenault advance on to the playoffs at Scotties. Quite a run for them as they were 9-2. Unfortunately, losing in that bronze medal game, but quite a performance.
So I see Colton's rock slip through the house. This gives Murphy a chance to come in here and put a little force on. I'd like to force Thompson to one this end.
So as you mentioned there on the skip stones, Jamie Murphy, the 3-time defending champion out of the Halifax Curling Club, looking for a return to the Tim Hortons Briar once again.
Yeah, it's in Brandon, Manitoba this year. That's a heart of curling, so it'll be a very exciting place. They'll have a large fan base for that Briar.
And of course, already a tough field in that event.
This is a good-looking shot, John. It looks like
Sweepers just waiting on this. It's about to come down. It will come down to just about T-line on the 4-foot, sitting 1-2.
It's pretty much buried. You can just see a corner of it from my vantage point. It looks like Stuart Thompson's planning to play down to it. Maybe a slight tap to ensure that he's number one.
And simply just try to set up the angles just enough so that he could get his deuce. First stone here from Stuart Thompson.
Doesn't seem to be taking the curl, whether it's a little heavy or whether his is just not taking the finish that Jamie's took. I think they're trying to take it in behind it now. Is number one, but quite open. I expect that Jamie Murphy would be contented with hitting and rolling over to the wings and allowing Stuart the draw for one versus an open hit.
And it could be a big win here should Jamie Murphy win this afternoon, as I have the list of the champions the past 10 from 2000 to 2018, and it would be, if he wins, a 6th title for Jamie Murphy, which would put him just ahead of Mark Dacey, the former Briar champion. So Sweeper's working on this one. Looks a little bit outside to me.
Yeah, I think he'd be contented with this to hit.
Will
and
it
roll
get
out.
hit, roll out?
Yeah.
And there you go.
This is about the force, and now the force is a draw to the 4-foot. But Stuart just played this, and he had perfect weight.
So force is on against Stuart Thompson. He does have the last rock facing a count of 2. And Stewart has been performing well in front of the home crowd. He always seems to have a big cheering section cheering him on.
He does. It's nice to see how many people are out on the ice level today. It's great for the players to have some fans out there, to have some noise. When you go away, the fans are right there at ice level and making lots of noise, so it's a great experience for them to have that opportunity.
Sweeper's working on this one, just dusting it off. Now it's starting to come on now, Coulter and Ardeal.
That's a nice draw.
And will come down to the back of the forefoot for the single point. It will be a 2-1 lead for Jamie Murphy, and Murphy will have the last rock in end number 3, playing the Yellowstones. And Marion, that's one of you mentioned there about having a crowd there on the ice. It's really neat to think there, because back in 2010, this Tankard event was here at the Dartmouth Curling Club, and I got to sit out there for the final, and I was one of maybe a solid 3 people that was there, just sitting there, and there wasn't as much spectators, and it wasn't. In my view, it wasn't as fun for the players and fun to watch, but now that we've really expanded into this really great concept of an event, it's really made it so fun for the spectators to get to watch some exciting curling.
Exactly, just all the little things, having the signs out on the ice, the sponsors, the fans. It makes the players feel, it gives them that extra edge that you're playing in something big, and you have to get that feel when you're going to go away the national. Every game's a big game when you step on the ice on the national front. So I think it's great for Nova Scotia curling to be giving the players this experience.
So as we get started here, third end of action, Taylor Ardeal.
So Taylor was the coach of the winning team this morning. So it's been a big day for him so far, and I'm sure he'd like to cap it off with a double win.
And that would be a pretty big achievement there, should he have the opportunity to go to the Scotties as the coach and the Brier as a player.
So you were mentioning how many wins Jamie Murphy had. Were you ready for the call this morning if Marianne had won? How many appearances
I believe that was, I think it's up to almost into the 20s, if I remember. No, that was Colleen that's in the 20s.
It was going to be 14, I think.
Oh yeah, it was 14. I think I mentioned that at one point.
Yeah, she has 13, and that's quite an accomplishment to have these players stay dedicated to the sport for that many years, and still to be bringing their very best to the game.
Absolutely. And it truly shows just the caliber of play here in Nova Scotia. Like, there's so many teams that may not think as much about like our teams being maybe the biggest threat sometimes, but again, we have some of the best in the world. Sure. We've had world titles, Canadian titles all over the place. Oops.
So this end started with a nice come around by Phil Crowell, and nice positioning, top 4. Thompson team will try to come in and freeze on top of that.
Sweepers working on this one here, Steele and Coulter.
It looks nice. I think they're sweeping for line there as much as anything.
Trying to get for line. How far will they get it? Colton Steele.
Yeah, there's no question. I think the fans at ice level are a lot of Thompson fans. There's always some noise after their shots.
And one thing you've seen a lot of here with these two teams, but especially with Team Thompson, is that of really what the revolution in the game of it being very much I would almost characterize it as like the fit man's game, because those guys, you can see they work out a lot. They really put some extra power into being able to sweep effectively, and really it shows in how they're able to play the game. As we see that comes to the top of the 12, sitting third shot. Shot still belongs to Murphy at the top of the 4.
So anyone that's tuning in this afternoon that's not as familiar with the game and the strategy and the rules, probably wondering like why wouldn't they start hitting some of this rocks out of the way. We're playing the 5 rock rule, so Travis can't remove that. Well, the top blue one is their own, but even if they wanted to, it's one more rock before you can start clearing the front.
And that's really something that teams have started to try to get used to. We did see it on one of the TV games. They did forget a little bit about it being the 5 rock rule and ended up hitting a stone by accident. Had to put it back and everything.
So now the Murphy team, they can remove the front. They'll want to clean this up a bit. They have last rock, getting a little messier than they'd like.
It's a big weight here from Zachary. Crow working on this one here, looking for the double peel. Will get the 2 blue out.
It's a great shot. Leaves the corner guard, which is having hammers. Nice to have the bonus of a corner guard from that shot.
So it looks like you're going to see another hit here from Travis Coulter. Long-time champion at the junior level and at the mixed doubles.
He's playing a nice quiet weight. Kind of weight that you keep your rock in play. Shooter. That's exactly what was called.
Good roll there to bite the edge of the 12. Sitting second and third. So still opportunities for them later in this end. Sweeper's working on this one early from Zachary. Gets a hit, rolls over toward the blue team's Stuart Thompson.
It's a nice shot. I really love what I'm seeing here this afternoon is the weight that they're playing on those shots. They're just playing a very nice control weight so that can control it with sweeping and keep the rocks in play. It's a sign of great ice conditions that you can play that.
And it's been great to really see that, like 4.5 feet plus of curl, which really is stuff that you'll see on arena conditions, and very predictable ice, which is a great thing too. Sweeper's working on this one here from Colton Steele. Gets the yellow nudged out. Will roll his shooter to T-line 12.
And that's a nice shot there as well. It's a great game of curling.
And you wouldn't expect anything less out of a major final like this. A spot at the Tim Hortons Briar on the line. Sweeper's working on that. Will get on the nose. Of course,
as a little more weight coming on this one. I think you might be playing the hit onto the yellow and roll over to the other yellow, maybe even be able to nudge it. Not sure the angles from where I'm sitting or that's possible.
And we have seen there that Colton can throw the big weight like that, as we'll see. Ideal working on this. Will get the hit, rolls over.
That's a great
Will
shot.
get his to the yellow at the side 12. Great result there from Colton Steele.
Great execution. I mean, they may not look as hard as, but that's a very precise shot and great execution, great outcome.
So now it looks like we're going to see there Paul Fleming being called on to remove the blue there at the edge of the 8. Big weight here, Zachary. Removes the blue of Team Thompson's, moves his towards center line.
Yeah, that was a great outcome as well, that yellow hung on there, so that's very important that they're not sitting 1 and 2, but Murphy was happy that he may still be able to count that yellow as he's got hammer in this end.
So on the skip stones here, Stuart Thompson.
He'll be looking to hit and roll over on top of the yellow, or maybe nudge it out and sit 1 and 2.
Sweeper's working on this one.
This is beautiful curling.
Absolutely.
You see curling like this, you're just happy that they're having a great game, and you can tell that regardless of who wins this game today, Nova Scotia is going to be very fortunate to have a great representative at the Brier.
Absolutely. And of course, many provinces determining their representatives during today. We've already seen Terry Odishaw out of Carl Moncton will be representing New Brunswick. That was already earlier today, 7-4 victory in their final.
Yeah, some of the Atlantic teams and the territories have been, but the other provinces will be another week or two. They're focusing on their women playdowns this weekend. Some of them are being telecast on Sportsnet today.
Sweeper's working on that one, gets the blue out. Biter at the side of the 12, so that could be a factor there for sure.
Stewart has to make the decision. Is it the guard, or is it to come sit 1 and 2? Does he want to steal, or does he want to force? If he plays the guard, might you keep 2 in play for Murphy? Looks like he's given serious consideration to the guard. That's what he's called.
Looks like, based on what I can see there, it looks like it's probably going to go to the guard.
And that gives him the force. Not likely to give him a steal. It'll still give Jamie Murphy the entire 4-foot to draw to, but the force is what Stuart Thompson wants here. He wants hammer back.
Coulter working on this one.
He's just cleaning. You don't want this too deep. If they come in, you could play the double I guess now that it's in, he's playing the freeze to hope that you can't get the double and stay for two.
Yeah, really, it's impossible to get both without playing an insane amount of weight. So Murphy gonna play the draw to the forefoot. Anything more than a bite gets you the single that you need.
Now, we were assuming that he was playing the guard. Maybe that was his plan the whole time, was to come on the freeze. It's either way, it's a great call.
It does tighten down the scoring area a lot still.
Yeah.
Final stone here in 4. Jamie Murphy facing a count of 2 blue.
Sweepers are sort of on and off. Looks like it's gliding there now. Yeah, you could almost see that looking like it was on a downhill.
How far will it go? And it will be a steal of 2. As Stuart Thompson will take a 3-2 lead over defending champion Jamie Murphy. Going into the 5th end, it will be Stuart Thompson throwing first, but Jamie Murphy will have the last rock in this 5th end of play. But halfway through this match, a great match so far.
Great match, but that's that very quick ice we were discussing. Sometimes it's out there in a nice fresh patch, and it looked like the sweepers wanted to stay with that, and then the next thing you know, you realize that it's gliding and it's slippery.
And that's something that you really see a lot with the faster style surfaces, almost similar to arena, where just that least bit of oversweeping can be the big difference.
Yeah, I don't even think that was an oversweep there. I just think it was a slippery spot. So we're in the 5th end. You've probably mentioned already, John, that at the end of this end there'll be a 5-minute break, and we'll step aside. We'll be back.
But yeah, for our viewers, stay with us. We will have the second half of action here from the Dartmouth Curling Club. I'm John Seitman, joined alongside here, as mentioned earlier, by Marion McCauley, the Director of Competitions for the NSCA. As we saw the excuse me there, the stone center guard just on the eye in Deloitte. So Murphy now on a little bit of the offensive, setting up the corner guard. And this Stuart Thompson team, who have all had the opportunity to experience representing, for at least 3 of them, Nova Scotia, but if I remember correctly, also our deal representing Alberta originally before moving out here. Looking for their first opportunity at the men's level. Of course, the major credentials there of Team Murphy, having been many times to the Briar, as we say, 5 times.
That was 2 nice lead set-up shots in this end. Just wanted to mention But this is not our only championship that the Curling Association had on today. The club mix was held this week in Middleton, and Team Bernard from the Windsor Curling Club came through as a successful provincial champions today, and it's great to have so many different events for all the different level curlers. That would be players that don't play in bonspiels and travel and but yet like to play, and a nice opportunity to say you're a provincial champion. So I hope that was a great competition this weekend for all the players that participated. And we have a pretty busy schedule over the next 2 months. It's pretty much an event every weekend. Upcoming weekend we have the junior mixed doubles, and the following week we have the under 15, and we have the senior doubles. So busy time.
And that's always a big event. There, of course, like the schedule there with the junior level. Of course, for a few years, played out of the Dartmouth Curling Club in the under 18 level, and got to experience a lot of those events. The junior mixed doubles should especially be fun. Some of them starting to get used to playing in that format. A lot of people saw it at the Continental Cup recently, and it's been exciting to see at the provincial level people taking up the game.
So back to our game at hand here, John. It looks like Team Murphy's trying to clear some front, and that
a little bit of a jam there, so Shotstone will belong to Team Thompson.
I just had somebody come by and tell me to speak up. I think it's the first time in my life anybody's told me to speak up. I'm usually have such a boisterous voice, so I apologize if I've not been coming across. I think I was probably a little conscious that my voice may be coming across too loud, so hopefully this sound now sounds a little bit better. Move my microphone in a little bit closer.
So second stones here, Travis Coulter.
Certainly a good setup here for the Thompson rink. Putting a lot of pressure for a force on Murphy. Murphy does have the corner guard though, so if you don't execute perfectly, he'll take advantage of that. And Scott Zachary will probably be playing a little bit of weight on this one. Trying to move a few rocks.
Big weight here from Zachary. We'll get a few rocks moving. Shotstone will be the stone at the edge of the 8.
Stuart Thompson will want to remove the yellow rock and not probably bring it over any closer to those corner guards. He'll want to keep the play away from that corner guard.
So third stones here. Colton Steele.
Oh, now I'm wrong there. It looks like you're thinking about maybe they should go for the long roll and make sure they don't leave it for the Murphy team.
And that's one of those situations there where Murphy, if he had the opportunity to take the roll, it would set up the opportunity to potentially get a good multiple. So Thompson electing to play that one first and maybe put the pressure on.
It's got just nice control weight here in this shot. Looks like he's going to hit about half and we'll get some roll.
So he was working on this one, gets over a little bit, still open.
I'm not sure if Jamie plays I don't think if he plays the top blue one, I think he'll just have to roll away and roll on. Oh, he is showing to roll under. From my vantage point, that looks quite difficult, but must be a little bit more space, not directly behind.
Big weight here from Fleming. Gets a hit, rolls over. Shot still remains the blue of Team Thompson.
I think you'll see a similar call here for Colton in his second shot as his first shot.
Second and 2 here for Colton Steele. The third for this team out of the Dartmouth Curling Club.
It looks like this will be a nose hit here.
We'll get to the nose, hits 1-2. So opportunity here for Team Murphy to get a roll behind the guards and really put the pressure back on to Team Thompson. Big weight here from Fleming. Crow working on this one. Zachary joins him. Try to get the roll. Will stick right there.
They'll be disappointed with that. That was a great opportunity to bring the corner guards that they had into play. Stuart Thompson will try to make that roll himself. Having a little fun on the way to the hack with some fancy footwork.
And that's one thing I've seen a little bit from the Stuart Thompson team, a little bit of that youthful flair.
Yeah, staying loose. It's good to stay loose. You know, you need to stay focused in your game, but it's good to stay loose as a team too, and helps you not feel so uptight when you're in the hack. So,
especially in a big final like this, important to really stay loose and relaxed and focused as they at this first of 2 here from
looks
Stuart
like
Thompson.
That's going. That's curling hard. Oh, it was curling hard. Then it looked like it straightened a bit.
We'll get the
nice
hit.
Shot shows a little piece of it.
A little bit of a piece, but still pretty good results.
Jamie's not quite sure how he wants to play this. He's opting by the look of that to probably just tap that back.
It's a big shot here for Jamie Murphy. Trying to manufacture something going into the 5th end break. Shrever's working on this, try to get by. Will get the hit. And rolls over to the edge of the 8.
Nice
Shot
roll.
zone.
And you can, Stuart Thompson can probably see maybe a half, but I think he'll play the run back. It's a fairly short run back.
And that's definitely one thing that we've seen that is very much in the wheelhouse of this Stuart Thompson rink, being able to harness the big weight and really be able to play those run backs well. And it's really something that has, over the past few years, been a major aspect, especially not just of the sport curling in general, but especially in the men's elite game.
Mm-hmm.
Final stone 4, Thompson without the last rock here in 5. Gets the hit, clears it out.
He would like to have stuck it. If he stuck it, he would have forced, he may have forced Jamie Murphy to 1. So Jamie Murphy now can just blank the end, so he'll be throwing it through.
So final stone here, just going to throw this one away and carry over the last rock into the 6th. There we go. Clears it off, and we'll head to the 5th end break. It will be a 3-2 lead for Stuart Thompson over Jamie Murphy through 5. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. You're watching the 2019 Deloitte Tankard, presented here live from the Dartmouth Curling Club. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to continuing coverage of the 2019 Deloitte Tankard, presented here live from the Dartmouth Curling Club. I'm John Seitman here for the call of this match between Team Jamie Murphy and Team Stuart Thompson, as it was a deuce for Murphy in one, blank in the second, a single point end for Stuart Thompson in three, a steal of two in the fourth for Thompson, and a blank in five. And that leaves us to where we are right now, a 3-2 lead for Stuart Thompson. We have 5 ends to go before we will have our final result as to who will be off to the Tim Hortons Brier. So as we get started there, we will probably have in a little bit there Marion McCauley, our competitions director for the NSCA, will return back with me there. We have had Marion on for a few ends there before the break, and she'll probably be back at some point here. As we get started with this, we'll just quickly remind you of the teams. Team Jamie Murphy, the defending champions, curling the Halifax Curling Club. Their lead is Phil Crowell. Their second is Scott Zachary. Their third is Paul Fleming. And their skip is Jamie Murphy. They're all supported by alternate Andrew Gibson and Coach Bruce Lonis. Of course, some people may know the name Bruce Lonis from the Brier Champions team Mark Dacey of 2004. And Team Stuart Thompson curling out of this Dartmouth Curling Club, coached by Kevin Patterson. Their lead is Taylor Ardeal. Their second is Travis Coulter. Their third is Colton Steele, and their skip is Stuart Thompson. This is, for if anybody forgets there, it is a rematch of last year's championship final. And as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Jamie Murphy looking for a 6th title, which would surpass the amount won by Mark Dacey, the former Brier champion. Murphy picking up titles in 2012, 2014, and for the past 3 years. But coming up against a strong team of young guns from Dartmouth, as we welcome back here Marion McCauley for the second half. Marion, it's been a great game so far, but again, just a little bit of that edge for Stuart Thompson thanks to the steal of 2 and 4.
That's right, John. It really has been an amazing game. Like, there's been tremendous shots made by both teams, and that's what you want to see in your provincial final. We'll have a great representative at the Brier and Brandon, Manitoba, regardless of who comes out on top today. But this is a tight score. Can't predict an outcome with a 3-2 score after 5.
Yeah, absolutely not. And as the teams play here on sheet D, just a little bit out of their view are those coveted Purple Hearts. That they are battling it out for the opportunity to win.
There's
of course, a big symbol of Canadian curling, dating back right to the start of the Tim Hortons Brier. Actually, the Brier itself back in 1927.
That's correct, and that's where the Heart started. And the Heart, every other lot of competitions have carried on that the Heart is different colors. Is coveted in red for the Scotties. For those that can see the trophy table, I'm not sure if at the view point you have at the cameras whether they can see that the trophy is actually not, it's a beautiful Nova Scotia crystal vase on the top of that trophy, but it's not attached. So I think there was a decision made that it might have been too treacherous to have that at ice level unattached. So
yeah, I could just imagine some peel of a high guard careens over and I imagine that a few of our officials may have a bit of a heart attack on if that were to occur, and we don't want that. So we'll just keep the crystal inside.
So it looks like Scott's playing a quiet weight shot to remove the blue.
Finesse weight here.
Hoping to save this shooter in the house, and Stuart Thompson will work hard to get it out, but it looks like it'll stay. And again, that goes back to what I was talking about, playing that kind of weight that you can make those shots and you can keep your shooter in play. It's absolutely critical on fast ice. If he had played that with a bigger weight, that rock wouldn't have stayed in play. And, you know, Murphy team, as I'm sure in their break, discussed and are going hard for their deuces and to feel like they're back and somewhat in control of this game.
And truly, they've had a great week so far. Of course, the only team out of the men's and women's tournaments who went a full undefeated 7-0, and that did get them to bye here to Sunday's final and the last rock in the first end. And if I remember correctly, also with that they would get choice of stones, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Yeah. So for some of our viewers who may not be as familiar with some of these types of things, they have all the rocks from all the 4 sheets that they were on, and they have the opportunity to pick from those, try to get the best set of rocks for what they want for the final. And the teams chose those in advance of the game. Third stone's here, Paul Fleming.
Paul's rock is hanging out there a little bit. It barely got by that corner guard, and it looks like to make contact and remove the rock, but they lost their shooter. So I think Stuart will be pretty quick to decide that he'd like to get rid of that yellow rock to try to keep the opportunity for the deuce a little bit harder for Murphy.
So Colton Steele here for Team Thompson. The very accomplished skip in his own right. Colton having won the Optimist Under-18 International, one of the banners up here at the Dartmouth Curling Club. Ardeal working on this one. We'll get the hit, moves over and out.
Yeah, he would like to have stayed there and kept the play over here. Now the play will go back behind these. There's a lot of bodies in my way, but I think there might be there's at least one corner guard on the right-hand side there, if not 2.
Yeah, there is the one corner guard higher up in just beyond the hog line, almost near the AMJ Campbell logo.
This rock looks like it's digging in. The sweepers are going hard.
Zachary working on this one now, trying to get by. Kroll now jumping in. We'll get it just into the 12.
I think that's buried, though. They just barely got by, and they were letting it finish. I think that being that longer guard, I think even though it's on the top 12, I expect that's quite buried.
Yeah, I would definitely tend to agree there. There's not many options to get at that. So imagine they must be able to see something there because, okay, it looks like they're going to call for the run, looks like. Yeah,
I just took my headset off there and went over and had a good look at that. It's dead buried. So
based on the broom, looks like it will be a run back, yellow onto yellow. Stuart Thompson here playing with a little bit of quiet intensity, as I like to say there. Gets the hit, gets the roll, and out. Great shot from the skipper. Definitely satisfying his cheering section over there in the ice shed with that big shot.
So Jamie Murphy will play the same shot again as Paul did, and he probably would like to come a little bit deeper. That run back is more distance there is, the more difficult that shot is.
So first stone here of the second half for Jamie Murphy.
Sorry to bother you all. The last draw for the 50-50 will be at the front desk. Let's get the last tickets. Good luck.
Crow working on this one here.
Not sure this one is by. I think this one's going to.
I don't think it is going to be by, so it will rub.
Looks like his weight would have been favorable considering where that rolled to. So Thompson will try to take advantage of this now and come around the center. It's a nice rock behind this center guard. It could be a steal position.
And I would expect, based on just simply how he's played throughout the game, that you will see Stewart have a good chance of making this one. He's been pretty spot on all of his draws that he has played throughout the match. Final stone for him without the last rock, Stuart Thompson.
It's got lots of room. It's hanging out there a bit. Sweepers are going hard, though. It must be a little bit on the light side. They're certainly not needing to go for line.
So going for weight, really trying to push it every inch. All you got, boys. All you got. Just enough, and what a sweep there to drag it. Great work from Coulter and Ardeal. The big question is, how much of it can they see? Looks like it's enough that Murphy will play for the pick.
Yeah, they can see at least half of it.
Final stone and number 6, Jamie Murphy looking for the pick to blank this end and retain the last rock. Looks good from here. We'll get the hit, roll out, and it will be a blank end here in 6. He will retain the last rock in end number 7, playing the Yellow Stones. And as I've been looking throughout the ice shed and around the club, it's been awesome to see all week there some of the juniors from the Dartmouth Curling Club around helping out and getting to see some of the action. And especially good to be inspired by some of these curlers who, in some cases, have come up from the junior program very recently. Of course, with Coulter and Steele, and on the women's side with McKett and Driscoll, who have curled out of this Dartmouth Curling Club and now are making an impact on the provincial and national stage.
Absolutely, and the showing that Nova Scotia Juniors have had at the Nationals the last number of years. it's wonderful and inspiring for these curlers. Both the junior men and women's representatives this week at the Canadian Juniors in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, did very well, both making the championship pool, and Team Caitlin Jones on to the semifinal yesterday. Terrific game, came right down to the wire. Disappointing finish for the girls, but they should be very proud of how they played this week.
And we did earlier wish congratulations to Carly Burgess, who did capture the All-Star second for the first All-Star team.
I didn't know that, so that's...
Yeah, that was just announced today at the championship final. Carly, always a very consistent player of the junior program. I have experienced that personally a few times at the back when I was curling against her in the high school mixed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think depending on how many wins they had this week, she may be the player with the most wins at the junior level, at the national junior level. We'll have to find that out this week when her family comes back. They play out of the same club as I do in Truro, so we'll be getting all the inside scoop this week on how the event went, and they looked like they were having a great time. The parents looked tremendously nervous on TV yesterday. It must be very difficult, particularly they got down early with that 4-ender against them. But I thought they did a really great job. You may not have gotten to see the game, John. You were doing
I did in between we had it on the air in between the two semifinals yesterday, so got to see a little bit of the action. Unfortunate result in the end, but we definitely wish them congratulations on a great finish. Still, bronze medal is definitely something to be proud of, and we are very happy to call them one of our own here. As we see, this end has gotten started off pretty well for Jamie Murphy. One buried in there.
Yes,
trying to wrap one around is Taylor Ardeal. Will get it to the 12.
Yeah, he would like that to have come. He was playing that to come right on top. So certainly now the way they're lined up is to the advantage of Team Murphy.
Junior Curling Club for all the support, and we are very happy.
Phil Crowell here.
I'd like to call the last 50-50, and the winning pot is $151. And our last winning ticket is 1450223.
I didn't get my ticket for that 50-50.
Yeah, I wish I did too there.
There's somebody going to walk away today with $150.
Somebody will be happy.
Which is great for junior curling. I've seen the juniors selling the tickets here, and I think all the proceeds are going to them. So that's a wonderful way to get them involved. And thanks for all those that supported that throughout the week and gave back to junior curling.
On the second stones here, Travis Coulter looking for the hit on the stone at the edge of the 8. We'll get there. A little bit of a rollover. How far will it go? We'll go to the side button.
The Thompson team's trying to bring the play to the center, while the Murphy team is trying to bring the play with that rock away. So Murphy will try to roll away, and then Thompson will try to move it back into the 4-foot. So a little cat and mouse game going on here. Both teams have lots of time on the clock, but there's over 4 minutes difference, and with the Murphy team being with more time, probably just a little bit more experience playing and playing quick, getting used to having that quick play at the Nationals. But I never noticed any games here this week, the clock being tight on any. I'm sure there might have been some, but none that I was aware of.
Yeah, really the pace of play has been really good there, and nobody's really come down to even really the most I've ever seen has been maybe 4 minutes left or something.
Yeah, I saw one the other night with a couple minutes left, but even 2 minutes is a lot. It's not like...
yeah, nobody pulling any buzzer beaters like any certain ones that we've seen in some of the national events. Not naming any names, specifically because I have a Facebook friend who is Skip, just happens to be one of those ones.
Yeah, those that watch the curling regularly know who you're talking about.
Unfortunately, we haven't had any buzzer beaters here. As we're on, there's Scott Zachary looking for the hit.
Trying to hold it straight. You want to stay right there, but it looks like it's going to roll a little bit.
Rolls it over to the back of the button. So opportunity here for Steele. Looks like he's going to be called to draw it down and lock one on. You can freeze this one in a good position. It would be very difficult to remove.
It's not a lot of ice, but it's for the freeze.
I have found there that on this sheet it has run a little bit straighter compared to our other features sheet, where sheet C was curling a lot on this side. Here it has run a slight bit straighter, so that may be why you may have seen that. As we see a little bit of a tap, shot stone.
I would like that to have been dead frozen. I think Murphy's team will now have Paul Fleming will pick that out of there relatively easy with looks like about a foot and a half of separation. And based on the ice that he's got, he's going to play this with some quiet weight and keep his rock in play.
Paul Fleming here.
It's hanging out there. Try to make that rock
Zachary
curl.
trying to make it curl. How far will he get it?
He may
will
pick
not.
his back one. Oh, he misses them all.
So opportunity here. It looks like you're going to see them guarding against what appears to be the double, almost triple tap. Some people may think, oh, that's a super difficult shot, and yes, it is. But we have seen it on this feature sheet. Last night, there was quadruple run double from Stevens.
Mm-hmm.
That was
quite
a shot.
It was a fabulous shot. I was watching it from my home last night as you did the call, and that was a fantastic shot. I think he looked like he was going to call the guard, but I think he's coming in. Personally, I would like to come right in on top. I'd be a little worried if you don't put the guard on right if leaving a shot. This is hanging out there very much like
it all really depends on the placement of the stone there, because you don't get this straight on the nose. You definitely leave an opportunity for Murphy to remove both. Sweeper's working on that one and get it to the inside. What a great shot there from Colton Steele.
The beauty is that Colton had just played that shot, so that would give you more confidence to call the basically the same shot for the player. That really was a good shot.
Skip Stones here in 7. Oh, no, my apologies. We still have one more third Stones, as it is Paul Fleming.
Going to play some weight here and get this opened up.
with the big backswing there from Fleming. Sweeper's working on that one. Zachary. Boom, 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 and a little bit of an off result there. It leaves a count of at least 2. Yeah, and that's all he's going to get so far is I think the third stone. My third shot belongs to the yellow at the back. I may be wrong.
No, I think you're right, John. It's always hard to tell on this screen that we're looking at, but to me it looks like blue is sitting 1 and 2, yellow 3, blue 4.
So now with that change, it produces some opportunities for Stewart to really put the pressure on, play for the force. Honestly, it's one of those situations where, like I was talking with Selena this morning, if you go with the conventional philosophy, if you're able to force Jamie Murphy to take a single in this end, you would have, so to speak, if you go back and forth, 2 hammers compared to their 1, and would have the final rock in 10. If you just go back and forth again, that being said.
I didn't see the exact call here, so I'm not quite sure where he wanted this placed.
I think just guarding against that double there, so forcing Jamie Murphy with his first to try to draw down to it. Full 4, we get him shot stone. And they have a quick little discussion, and Murphy puts the broom down.
Sweepers jumped right on it, John. He must have thought out of his hand it was a little light or a little tight. They're off it now. Got lots of room.
Sweeper's working on this one. Trying to get by. Will it get by the top? Will rub. The shot zone will be still the blue at the side of the 4-foot. But looks like that will cut down to just a single.
Stuart Thompson taking his time to see if he's seeing all the different possibilities that are there. There are yellow rocks in play, so he's going to want to be careful that he makes a decision here that doesn't allow for multiple score for Team Murphy.
Well, I think the risk that he's looking at is a possibility that originally I think his inclination was to go for a hit, but then the issue is to jam on the back blue.
Mm-hmm.
So if it were me, based on what I'm seeing there, he may honestly play the guard and force him to the draw.
I think they did decide on the guard. The draw will still be there, but you have to go out quite wide.
Which is a little bit of a different path than what they've had.
What we've seen, and you see it on TV as well, you go out to that wider path and it can be a little quick out there.
And sometimes that fresher path is something that makes it a bit difficult to call, and as a result, it could force a miss out of the provincial champion Jamie Murphy. But in order to do that, Thompson's going to have to protect on this stone. Final stone for him without the last rock. Looking for the guard. Looks like it needs to curl a little bit to get the finish.
No problem. There's
Will
nice
do
finish.
so. Good results there from Thompson. Holding a count of 1.
I think he made that draw. Well, no, I think the draw is still there, but they are looking to see if there's some angles.
I think based on what Jamie was originally looking at, he honestly was kind of looking at the possibility of just straight picking out the blue stone because his yellow is the second shot. Which I was thinking there in this instance, you kind of that would be a bit of a lower percentage shot. You really want to go for one that, like, you know how to draw the 4-foot. He's done it a few times. You already saw earlier in this game a missed hit in this similar area from Paul Fleming, and that was missed. So looks like the broom's been put down for the draw. So full 4 is what you need. Facing a count of 1. Jamie Murphy, defending champion. Facing a count of 1, down by 1 in this match. Zachary and Crow working on it here.
Lines coming nice. That's a nice shot. That's a team
Will
shot.
come to the back of the 4, full 4, so shot stone. So it will be all tied up through 7 at 3 apiece there after that single from Jamie Murphy. In the 8th, the last rock will belong to Stuart Thompson. So what a great game there.
It's just a great game. We're tied at 3-all, and that was the front end. Those are tough to judge. So that was well thrown by Jamie and well judged by the front end, and good communication with Paul in the house about the line, and a real team shot and a critical point. A steal there would really swing the momentum pretty significantly. So they're all square after 7. Find the crowd's gotten quieter as the game's gotten tighter and later in the game. So everybody here at the Dartmouth Curling Club is very into the game.
And we hope the viewers at home are very into the game, as it is a good one, and we're excited to be bringing this to you. A great week of play coming down all to this.
Like you said before, John, thank you to the Dartmouth Curling Club players. It's quite a commitment for the volunteers to volunteer a week to give up their ice. Members didn't get to play for the last 10 days, and plus you had to do some work for a lot of them, and very much appreciated by the Curling Association and the curlers for the clubs that step up to host these events. We know there's a price to be paid for it, but it's all part of growing our sport.
And that's definitely the best thing about it, being able to use this to promote the game and really develop curling in Nova Scotia. So
it's a nice
it will
looking
be a great shot here coming from our deal, who, as we mentioned in past broadcasts. He knows every nook and cranny of this ice surface. In the day job, he works with Tracy Froud. Got to have a little bit of time off there during this tournament.
I just see he's having a little bit of fun with the fans too, and I'm really excited to see that. I think it's a great sign that the team is playing with great intensity, but they're playing with a little bit of looseness too, and they're enjoying the ride.
And that's one of the things that I always find is so difficult in a final, is the fact that of course you want to be into the game, keep focused and everything, but sometimes the best way to keep loose is to simply be able to have fun out there. And sometimes the fun is hard to find when you're in an intense game. But Team Thompson keeping it loose and playing a little bit to the crowd. Their crowd have been very into it with their
bells.
Bluish rally towels and the bells, and I think I saw a few Go Team Thompson signs around the club this afternoon. So as we've been talking there, shot zone at the top of the forefoot, belonging to Team Thompson's Taylor Ardeal.
There's a sweep there by Coulter and Steele. They were trying to get that rock in where they weren't setting up a double for the Murphy team. The double's not there anymore, but the hit and roll in on top of that blue is there. The call was for that to be more back eight and take away this shot. Big weight on that, and curl up. Well, the Murphy team is at second stone. They do have a choice. They could step up and remove that center guard if they wished. It looks like they've chosen to draw again. Same shot.
Sweepers working on this one from Travis Coulter.
Just dusting this one.
Just dusting it off, of course. And this Team Murphy squad have had quite a year. They were the winners at the Dave Jones Mayflower Cash Spiel over in Halifax and had the opportunity to play in the Grand Slam of Curling event up in Truro at the Rath Eastland Community Center. Quite an event there as they got to compete alongside as well Team Caitlin Jones.
And both teams did very well in that event. It's a wonderful experience for them, and I caught a lot of that action living in Truro, and felt that both teams certainly played really well.
Yeah, I wish I had. There was one of the games I was wanting to get my mom to bring us up to go see was the quarterfinals, the one against Rachel Holman. Actually, no, it's the final round against Rachel Holman because it was the one that got her in. And I was crossing my fingers there, hoping that we would see a Caitlin Jones upset, and what do you know? What a victory for them to upset the former Canadian and world champion. So back to our game here as we're still chatting a little bit, and Coulter peels out the guard outside.
He was hoping there to take a little bit more with him than just that guard, so certainly The Murphy team's in a good position here now. We've got these 2 yellow rocks. I think you can't. I think that I would have peeled on Travis Coulter's last shot. I think I would have opened that up instead of drawn.
So third stone's here. Paul Fleming.
Paul's rocks seem to be hanging out a little more than everybody else's. Seem to be quite wanting to come over to where I think Thompson's going to call to play a peel on this front one, but take the rock top 12 out at the same time.
So as we've seen from Colton Steele, his peel weight is exceptional fast.
That's the call.
Great results there.
Got a corner guard out of it to boot.
And I jokingly, during last night's game, I timed some of his peels, and he just broke the record there.
Oh, you just timed that one, did you?
He had it last night. It was 6.35 seconds hog to hog, and that one there was 5.9.
It looked like 5.9.
That was a ripper, as he does get the peel corner guard there. Pretty good too for the corner, because it also guards his stone at back out of the 12.
It's a good looking rock from Paul Fleming. We've completely changed the play away from the center and around this corner. So now Colton has to go from 5.9 to about 25, 24 and a half to.
And that can be one of the toughest things sometimes, to go from super hard weight right down to the finesse. But he's used to that as a former skip. Sweepers working on this one. Ardeal and Coulter will come to rest. Corner guard. Corner guarded. Sorry, corner frozen. What am I saying? My apologies. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day and a long week for you, John. You've done a lot of commentating.
I've been on every game, actually, on these two sheets since Thursday evening. Yeah. So
that's a big commitment as a volunteer. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure there. I've enjoyed calling it. It was funny there. I actually saw one of those things on Facebook where you have like the memories. And 4 years ago, yesterday, it was my first time I ever called a game. I called it here at the Dartmouth Curling Club with Scott Squires. It was Julie McAvoy versus, I believe it was a Mary Matatal, if I remember correctly, and that it was an exciting thing. And now I've been calling games for 4 years, as we see timeout called Jamie Murphy. So that will bring Coach Bruce Lonis out to the ice. The tactician that he is, the former Brier champion third for Mark Dacey. Definitely is a tough position here for Jamie Murphy and his team. Currently down one.
No, we're at a tie game.
well, down one in the house there with the 1 point there. Yeah. You see, I'm going when I'm in the not in the curling clubs in the winter. In the summer, I'm a lawn bowler, and that's kind of the terms that I sometimes interchangeably use, much to the laughs of my mother there. But they definitely do not want to make it that they would be down one. So we'll see here what came out of that.
Looks like the call was to come around the corner again.
Sweeper's really working on this one. Trying to push here, all you got, boys.
And just being a little bit light, it really picked up the curl. It looks like Stuart Thompson's considering whether he might come right in on top of that blue again.
Because coming onto that blue, it would, based on where it would be enough to get him second shot if I see that position correctly.
I don't know.
It'll be close, at least. Big moment in this game here as with the tie game, it would be nice for them to score a multiple point end as we see timeout called for Team Thompson. So
it certainly is it is the 8th end. It's very important that Thompson will want to score. He'd like to multiple score. He's trying to set up for that multiple score, but then you have to balance that with, is it worth it? Do you ever put so much emphasis on that Murphy's able to do something in his last shot to take it away from you?
Stuart Thompson does have the last rock here in end number 8. Reminder that we do play 10 ends, so after this it'll be 2 more, and if we're tied after that, we would go 1 more to decide it all.
Options they're discussing is to move that yellow one, that's stop 8 now, and roll over, or to play the cold draw. And it looks like that was Stuart Thompson's very first response when after Jamie Murphy's rock came. Clocks are back in. Their timeout is over. So that looks like the same ice that we've been calling for all these shots. So
looks like Colton talking the skipper into this call, because it did appear like Stuart was leaning toward the calls toward the front on that yellow, so we'll see. Here he will go for the freeze down to his own. First of 2 here from the skip of the Dartmouth Curling Club.
It's got lots of weight.
Just comes a little bit too far.
This is certainly a key shot. Beauty of the timeout is Jamie knew exactly what he was going to play once they made their decision on the call. They had time to talk about what they would do. Sweepers are going hard on this. And this was certainly the risk for the call that Stuart Thompson chose to make, was that they would guard and say, take your one or draw for two. And it looks like he's going to draw for two.
And Thompson here looking at the draw for two. Tie game right now. Looking to gain the first title for the Dartmouth Curling Club in the men's Tankard since actually the year I was born was the last year that the Dartmouth picked up the men's title. And the skip of that team threw the opening rock in this year's opening ceremony is Lowell Golden. So opportunity to make a little bit of history here this afternoon. Counting one right now. Looking for the 4'4" deuce.
And sweepers like it. They're on and off. It's always a good sign if the sweepers are on and off. Line looks good. It's really a question of weight. They're not spin hard. They're dusting.
And there you go. To the 4' for the deuce. It will be a 5-3 scoreline for Stuart Thompson. Going into the ninth end, it will be Jamie Murphy with the last rock. In the ninth end, playing the Yellowstones. And just looking at Stuart Thompson's team, they really seem optimistic. They're loose. They're smiling and they're ready to go.
Yep.
So thank you very much to our viewers for tuning in. It's been a great week of broadcasts here from the Dartmouth Curling Club, and thank our streaming partner 360 Live for all that they've done from morning to night on every draw to help us bring this Nova Scotia Provincial Curling Championships, both the Scotties Tournament of Hearts and the Deloitte Tankard to you.
So this will be an interesting end, John. Stuart Thompson will want to take the play into the house and have a force Murphy to one. And Murphy will probably, I expect, maybe want to, he's going to set up for the deuce, but if it's not going well, he'll probably want a blank out of this end. So we'll start out looking for the multiple score, and it'll be interesting to watch if there's a switch at some point where he goes away from that multiple score plan to try to play a blank. The worst case scenario for Murphy in this end would be to be forced to one.
But honestly, it was a situation that we saw similar to our women's final, where it was forced in 9, and then out of nowhere, steal in 10.
Yep.
And that was the title.
Yeah, the 5 rock rule really helps with that steal and multiple score.
So definitely far from over here as we see second zone here from our deal. The corner guard was put up by Phil Crow, center from our deal, and our deal coming around his own, it appears.
This is a nice looking shot. Looks like it finished.
Will come to the back of the 4. Shot stone.
Fully buried, but slipped a little bit further than he probably would like. And Team Murphy will ignore that for now. They'll get One around the corner. Rock of Phil's is there it goes now. They sort of hang and they finish hard, which is just like the way it is. It's a double guard he's setting up, which is very common strategy now.
So as I mentioned there about my first ever broadcast, I actually just got a tweet in from Julie McAvoy, and this is the neat thing, is that actually, Julie, yes, you are right. That was the first game that you did with this, with now this current combo that you do have. She was playing, I believe she was playing Vice, and then they decided to make the switch for the final round. They were out of contention against, I realized it was against Teresa Breen there. But yeah, 4 years ago here at Scotties. As that zone there from Coulter into the T-line 4.
Murphy team opting to come right in here, get one right in on top. That rock of Travis's maybe slipped a little bit deeper than they'd like. If it was top four, this wouldn't be a call, but it's finishes really nice in here. This one's hanging out. Maybe a little bit heavy if it's hanging, but
it looks like it is hanging a little bit. Will rub.
The Thompson team will want to peel this out. They're probably not interested in having any extra rocks in play. Rocks in play are to the advantage of the team that's trying to score. So this one's coming with some heat.
Big weight here from Coulter.
Always a good sign when the skip's giving you the sign that you made your shot and you're only halfway down the ice.
Of course. As a skip myself, I loved it when you'd be able to just even the second that it's out of your hand, you already know, hey, it's already made.
As long as the ice is clean. It's great to see that today. I've noticed that with both these teams. They put a lot of effort into cleaning before rocks are thrown. It's important. Little debris on the ice could ruin a beautiful.
And like just simply just the way that they've been going through all their pre-shot routines, and just it's what they always say, performance on demand, being able to execute in the big moments here, and these teams truly doing that here this afternoon with quite a good panel.
You're absolutely right. There's been some really
shot zone here, that yellow blowing to Team Murphy as that stone rubs onto the blue zone of Team Thompson.
They'll have to play this one with some quiet weight. Any kind of big weight will jam, so I think you'll see this being a soft weight shot and probably look to sit right there.
Even a little bit of a flop isn't the end of the world, as long as it's behind the guard. So Coulter working on this one here. Gotta go, boys. There you go. Sitting in count of 3.
So Jamie's got the double corner, so patience can pay off. He's going to hit and roll behind that corner.
Excuse me there, Paul Fleming here. The former Brier finalist alongside Sean Adams. Now playing third here for this Jamie Murphy rink. Big weight here from Fleming.
The roll is there.
Get the hit, get the double, and we'll
That's a
sit for second shot behind the corner.
beautiful shot. Key for Stuart Thompson here is he needs to sit 1 and 2, and he's trying to decide where best to do that. It looks like he's chosen to come in on top of that rock that just rolled over to the tee line. Certainly, if he gets by the guards and stays above the tee, he'll definitely be sitting number 2 there.
So second opportunity of this end here from Steele. Up by 2 here in this 9th end.
Lots of room. They don't need to sweep for line. They look like they're sweeping maybe a little bit for weight.
And right at the corner there for a count of 2.
These teams have really been putting on a clinic today. This is a fantastic final.
I wish we had the shot percentages of some of these, because these curlers are executing extremely well.
Yeah, if anybody's wanting to win the game by waiting for the other team to miss, they're not going to win that way.
Yeah. And all 8 of these men have been playing extremely well. Arguably, some people may say it may be one of the best that we've had all week, and how fitting is it for it to be in a final? As you said, and it definitely goes to show we'll have a great representative in Brandon at the Tim Hortons Briar.
And both of these teams put a lot into the sport and spieled a lot in they both qualified through CTRS points for this championship and didn't have to play the men's qualifier, so they were a number 1 and 2 seeds.
And how fitting is it that down to the final 2 ends between these 2 teams, the top 2 teams in the rankings?
This is a good-looking shot.
Sweepers working on this one here from Paul Fleming.
Beautiful shot.
We'll say we'll get to the nose.
So I just keep saying, beautiful shot.
Yeah.
I wish our final was on TV, like many of them are on TV today. The Scotties semi and finals for Alberta and Manitoba are being broadcast on Sportsnet today. I think been a great game for Sportsnet today. We'll have to work on that.
Yeah, just the caliber play the whole way, and we really hope that our viewers have been enjoying all the action. Just being able to bring championship curling to you has been exciting once again.
So it looks like Stuart Thompson says, I'll just follow you in there and sit on top.
I think it's really, this freeze, if it really tightens down the scoring area just that little bit more.
Looks like his line is good.
Line looks pretty similar to Paul's. Just needs to come down now.
He swept that a little bit at the first, and it seemed like it hung out a bit, so whether it'll get the good
Now it's coming
finisher.
back. Where will it go? It will go. First shot stone. Stuart Thompson putting on a clinic.
Putting on a clinic, and his fans are loving it. Blue flags are flying and bells ringing.
And like any times, they're just Stuart Thompson, just the way that he plays the game. It often reminds me a bit of him. Like him and his team remind me a lot of like Brad Jacobs, the team out of Northern Ontario. just simply with Thompson, that quiet intensity, and the others have the ability to really get fairly jacked up and energetic when they make the big shot, and yet they're still able to keep focused and determined. And they're hungry for their first provincial title.
I think both teams are hungry. I don't think there's any
Yeah, both teams are deaf for a title.
no lack of desire here. This is looking good.
Big shot here from.
Here. Oh.
Oh, man, what a unfortunate result there for Jamie Murphy. Now it will be sitting to Stuart Thompson, and that gives them the opportunity to put one, it looks like, into the top 12 is what Colton's looking at.
I don't know if you even have to do that. They just
pretty much guard the path and force a big shot on the other side, and you would need the button.
Well, I think the reason that what they're doing is they're worried that there's a double off the Blues, and
which
so
I would say there is.
It's I'm directly behind that, and I can see that you can see about half of the blue on the 4 foot. So that's, I think, why they're thinking if they can come guard that and leave him the draw. They can draw on the other side and come right top 4. That. So I think, the force was their plan here. So I think they're sticking with their plan. They're taking away the chance for a deuce, and they'll say to Jamie, "You could draw in there for 1," and that leaves us up 1 coming home with hammer. So probably a good decision here to stick with their original plan and to make sure that the deuce is out of play. Well thought out. This Team Thompson's last rock, and they're down to 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So they'll have almost 5 minutes for the last end, and Team Murphy still has 11 and a half minutes left, so time won't be an issue.
Yeah, they could practically go upstairs, have a little drink of water, and still get back in time. So
like
putting up the high guard there.
Murphy's got his broom down and knows what he left him and what he has to do. So this will be the 3rd in a row, maybe it's more, but that I recall that the skips have had to draw the 4 foot.
Yeah, it would be the
Stuart
3rd.
Thompson was for 2 points, and the end before was Murphy for 1.
But this time, a piece of the button, Jamie Murphy.
He needs a piece of the button. It's against 2, and it's the 9th end of a final.
He cannot afford to give up a steal here, because a steal here could put this game away.
The line looks great.
Just waiting down.
His line I think, is perfect. The sweepers are not touching it.
Colton getting ready on it there.
Wow.
And race to the lid.
Nice shot.
Putting on a clinic. Like, honestly, what can you say about it? It's been exceptional.
It's been exceptional, and, that was just amazing. The sweepers were dusting it the whole way. They never looked panicked. The line looked fabulous, and you could kind of tell the way they were dusting. They weren't panicking. How fun is that as a sweeper to be probably out there saying, weight's good.
Yeah, just skipper job, getting it done. And now that will leave a 5-4 lead for Stuart Thompson against Jamie Murphy, and Thompson will have the last rock coming home. This seems like a very familiar scenario like we just experienced.
And Murphy's now, that was nice to see too. Stuart Thompson just said, nice shot to Jamie Murphy, and it's one thing I love about our
good
sport.
Sportsmanship there.
Great sportsmanship. Because that was not an easy shot.
Yeah, got to give kudos to good shot making like that. Now it all comes down to this. Murphy needing 1 to keep his hopes alive. A score by Thompson will send him to the Tim Hortons Brier.
Murphy's team is saying, remember what happened with the girls this morning? You can steal too. Thompson's team is saying, don't think of this morning. Just play our game.
Yeah, just play your game, and
Stay
I'm sure the second that the 5 rock rule is done, you'll see the big weight come out. And a great week, all coming down to this. The crowd on the edge of their seats for what will be a fitting conclusion.
Straw looks a little heavy. Looks like it'll slip maybe to the...
Oh, come to rest. Top button.
Thought for a minute it was going to go back for. But Murphy's not going to... He's going to ignore that. He's going to play the long guard, so he's getting his double guards up.
I will say thanks out to Andrew Paris, who just sent me a little tweet saying great job on and thanks for volunteering this week. Andrew was my junior curling director here at the Dartmouth Curling Club before he joined the NSCA. And doing a great job there with some great new initiatives.
He certainly is, and we're happy to have Andrew as part of our staff at the NSCA.
Always found ways to make some innovative stuff for the juniors, and he's been championing some new initiatives like the Hit, Draw, and Tap program, and a lot of good work for coaching. In fact, one of my years that I went to, he actually was my coach there. So our deal here.
Coming right in on top.
Setting this up nice. And I'll expect to hear a bit of noise from the pro Thompson crowd.
Now, 4 perfect shots by the leads. The Murphy team has their double guards, and I imagine our deal is running on a little bit of adrenaline after his ladies winning this morning. That certainly wouldn't hurt his demeanor as he went into this game. Ride the wave, as they say. Those two are so perfect that the Murphy team just they have to figure out how to start moving them.
And it could be a very interesting ride there for our deal if they went to the point where if Team Brothers were championship, they may just finish off the Brier and then have him just hop right on and playing off to Denmark. That's this year's World Women's in Silkeborg, Denmark. Second stones here. Scott Zachary.
So it looks like he's using the front guard. He was going to promote it. Maybe over curling. It's going fine.
A little bit of a side there from Murphy, as that stone will go outside. And now the 5 rocks out of play. Expect to see the weight come out from Team Thompson.
Can he get a piece of this?
Oh. I don't know what to say there, Mary.
Well, I saw it out of the hack. He drove out very hard, and he had a little outward release. Now, that may be how he throws them all the time, but with that weight, that rock never moved. I was quiet as I was watching it come down because I wasn't convinced he was going to get a piece of it. He didn't
And
need,
what a
he didn't-
turning
he
point
didn't-
in
yeah,
this game.
He didn't need much of a piece. Boy, we talk about a momentum change. The Murphy team, who had looked a minute ago like they thought they were done, are suddenly feeling pretty energized. Perfect shot here, and
Sweepers working on this one here. Crow and Fleming.
weight's perfect, but it's going to be open. And they're sweeping more to try to get it buried.
We'll go open T-line. Stuart Thompson calling on Coulter for the hit and flop.
Coulter needs to park what happened in the last one.
Yeah, just put them to go into this shot fresh. Ardeal just dusting this one off. Broom already up from Colton.
They're the cheering over there, realizing that that last miss that Coulter had may have want them to get glum over that, so they're getting noisy again.
And of course, the stakes couldn't be higher again. Opportunity to head off to the Tim Hortons Briar. And of course, the prestigious honor of calling yourself a Deloitte Tankard champion. Paul Fleming here.
He's got a nice looking shot here. He's just playing a soft little
Taps that one back to the back, the 8-6 shot stone. Fleming's experienced that honor of going to the Tim Hortons Briar 8 times. Looking for...
This is a decision time. Might be a good time for Team Thompson to take a timeout and make sure as a team they agree on the approach here, but it looks like they've made the decision to play the peel.
Yeah. Yep, playing the peel. You gotta be careful how you throw this one. Try to ensure you don't set up guard opportunities there. We'll get
Nice.
2 yellow out.
Well, that
Brooms up from. I think that's a little bit of the energy from him that I haven't seen all game.
I don't think I've ever seen that from him. So
Yeah, he's generally a fairly sedate style player, and
he is. He was rather fired up with that.
he was fired up. As now, just a few rocks away from a potential trip.
Over there, I think Selena looks a little bit nervous.
I don't blame her.
She had that, putting her hoodie over her.
Of course, our broadcast colleague Selena Thompson, who called the final with me this morning. She is the sister of this final.
Very nice shot. These teams continue to impress. They're
looking for the peel once again. Get at least one moving for sure. Will do so. Gets the hit. Rolls it out. Down here to skip stones.
Where do you hide this one?
Where do you hide it? And you got to hope, if you're Jamie Murphy, for a miss from Stuart Thompson, who both skips have been curling incredible, but just those little tiny bits of difference in this matchup giving the advantage to Stuart Thompson. The skip out of this Dartmouth curling
really,
club.
the big difference was that draw for the steal of 2, where Murphy on his draw. That's it's really the only big difference that I've seen in this game.
Sweeper's
There's a
working on
different
this one.
energy level between the two teams. I find it very interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
They're both there's a little edge today to the Thompson team. Have an energy about them that's a beautiful shot.
That is a great shot. Playing to the back of the 8, sitting shot stone.
So Stuart Thompson has opted to hit this rock on the 8-foot and roll over to the 4-foot.
So up by 1, Stuart Thompson. He doesn't need to score here, so he could end up just the opportunity for it appears, because you're probably not going to see those 2 stones at the back 8 move. At least that's my view on it. It's going to be difficult. First stone here from...
That looked a little bit out.
Our deal here. Gets a hit. Sticks right there. Will sit. Second and third shot stone with the yellow of Jamie Murphy. And now big moment in this match for Jamie Murphy. Got to find the spot to hide and put the pressure back. Hide in the wide open, make Thompson
He just wants to make it where he can't hit. He wants to...
unable to hit and go.
Wants this to stop where nose hit wouldn't be number 1. Force him to draw. But it looks like it's going to be deep. And he will have the nose hit.
Nose hit to the 4 is what pretty much what you need. Timeout called by Team Thompson. So it seems pretty simple.
I think they just took the timeout just so that
just
Stuart
keep
didn't
focused.
feel rushed and nobody's thinking about the clocks. They still had 2 minutes, but
Yeah, just be able to be sure of your shot, settle down,
he's not taking much ice, so he's
sit it right
obviously-
there, and you could go to Tim Hortons Briar.
I would personally want to take a little more ice and throw a little quieter weight, but obviously he's going to play to his strength.
Final stone in 10. Thompson. Arms in the air, and it will be the title.
Look at them.
As the crowd's on its feet, the brooms are up, and it will be a championship title for Stuart Thompson. It was a count of 1, I believe, so it will be a score of 6-3.
A very emotional
as they will be our representatives at the Tim Hortons Briar. What a game there, Marion.
It was a terrific game. I was happy with you today, John.
As Team Thompson are fired up and celebrating, so
and Team Jamie Murphy should be very proud of their play here today. I thought that was just a tremendous match. Wonderful shots on both sides, and well done.
So what a game. So there you have it. Your 2019 Deloitte Tankard champions, Team Stuart Thompson. So on behalf of our crew behind the scenes at 360 Live and my broadcast colleagues today, both Mary Selena Thompson saying good night from the Dartmouth Curling Club. Stuart Thompson, your 2019 champions.